but you're not undergoing the transformation, and you keep thinking that you can tell yourself something and stay in the safety net and the comfort zone and bypass the transformation process that's required for it to unfold. Greetings everybody, my name is DJ. This is Reality Synthesis, which is my new model, of course, of manifestation designed to correctly and accurately describe the metaphysical and alchemical nature of reality and why we've been taught manifestation completely backwards. And how I'm going to set things straight here and now, right? The fact is that manifestation has very little to do with trying to control and manipulate reality. It has everything to do with being aligned with your supply of vitality. Because manifestation requires us to have two components of consciousness aligned together, right? The determining factor is the concept itself, or the thematic element that comprises that experience that you're integrating, and a supply of vitality. A supply of vitality is sourced from inverse potential. We can get into that in another topic because it's extremely complicated, but energy basically manifests out of seemingly thin air, but you have to open the door for it to take form. And we've been told that telling ourselves things magically opens the door for us. The fact is that we have fixed elements within our consciousness that are defining how we tap into and open that door for us to tap into vitality and circulate and experience that vitality and elevate our sensation of self, the self-concept as most people call it. So we need to understand that what we're trying to do here is not repeat or even go deep into imaginal experiences, but to recognize what we have thematic resonance with and flow with that, because it will naturally unfold. The thoughts will naturally come through you that confirm the thematic element that you're comprising your consciousness of in that place, right? The various archetypal metaphysical principles that correspond to and represent the essence of the thought that you're having. That is what you are drawing upon yourself and are providing a supply to the reality around you. People around you, they are receptive to what it is that you are emanating, right? When you have a strong, fixed, defined supply of thematic essence within you, because you are correct in your expression of self, that is thematically resonant to what it is that you find, nourishing and satisfying. When you are in that direction, you naturally tap into the thematic resonance and open that door for you to basically empower yourself through being correct, right? Having correct expression of self does all of the magic for us, because that's the template, that's the blueprint by which power can be made manifest through us. And as I said before, the thoughts that are correct for that to unfold, the visualized experiences, the auditory experiences, all of the imaginary stuff, it comes through us naturally, okay? Understand that it comes through us, and that we don't have to remind ourselves constantly to affirm or to visualize or any of that stuff. The reason why it's one and done is because the end represents the proportionate connection between where you are now and what that thematic element represents that you're simply moving towards and normalizing in the experience of sinking into that place with, whatever mental techniques you want to be doing, because that's reminding you of that thematic resonance. And as it becomes normalized and familiar, it basically becomes comfortable to us. And we naturally have thoughts then, just as we put in, they come out, right? It's a two-way street. It corresponds. It's a resonance, right? I need you to understand that this whole thing about constantly telling ourselves things, imagining things, doing all these techniques, no, that's all nonsense. The reason why there is only one technique, and that is that you are the technique, because you are defined by the metaphysical and alchemical processes and principles that unfold through you, that represent all of these tangible manifest experiences that will unfold in your reality automatically, by you being yourself. The only reason why you're not able to actually fully go all the way is because you're still stuck in the comfort zones. You're still stuck in the safety nets. You're still stuck in the contrast between where you are now and where you wish to be. And you're not normalizing the contrast and making it comfortable. Because when it's comfortable, basically it's subconscious, right? Because we automatically want to unfold it because it is a supply of nourishment. It is a supply of satisfaction. And so we think that imagining something can bypass us facing the pressure of transformation, because transformation is always required for things to be normalized, for contrast to be negated and to be normalized in our experience, to be comfortable. You have to go through the pressure. You have to go through the pressure. You cannot magically transform it. You have to go through it, no matter what, because it's an alchemical process. And all alchemical processes require a supply of pressure to separate the principles for them to be purified and put back together again into a proportionate manner, right? That's alchemy. And so we've been told, we think, by the way, we think all sorts of things, but it doesn't make it true, right? We've been told to think we can magically transform our resistance just by telling ourselves things. Absolute nonsense. The people who are the most abundant in this world are the people who are uncompromisingly, shamelessly themselves in every way. And they own their thematic resonance and they nourish themselves with it and they supply that to the world without any hesitation because they know themselves. And they can have any thought or feeling, it doesn't matter, because all of that stuff is temporary anyway and it doesn't shift their center. Their center is still rock solid, right? You're still trying to please other people, still trying to hold on to needing things in the world to be nourished, to be satisfied, that aren't for you. And so when we recognize, by doing pathway work, for example, which I've got a video on that I'll link up above, by doing pathway work you can find the root elements of what's keeping you in the comfort zone, keeping you in the safety net, keeping you from going all the way. Because until we go all the way, we're not transformed. Going all the way is going to the end, right? Because that represents the contrast between where we are being fulfilling the conditions, the processes that are keeping us in the safety net. So when you continue to retreat, you're basically holding back your transformation. In fact, the affirmation to put you into that place, to be driven in that direction, for your inner authority to drive you to act in the world in such a way that it, to you and your experience, will fulfill what is within you, that provides a sensation of nourishment, that then you can be put on the pedestal because you are within yourself. You are emanating a supply by which they will then feel subconsciously, because of the field geometries interacting, they will want what you have now within you. It's not about an assumption, it's about archetypal resonance. They are resonant towards what you have in supply for them, just as they, of course, would have supply for you. And so when you are supplying things from the world, instead of from within your own internal resonance, then you are denying your own divinity, because that's how the door is open for energy to manifest and nourish you and do all the magic stuff that we talk about, right? Manifestation happens through you, right? Manifestation happens through you naturally. Naturally. Understand it's all natural. And so when we give, the reason why the Bible talks about all these, psychological elements like temptation and stuff, temptation is basically us drawing ourselves away from incorporeal consciousness, which is our supply, which is our, you could say, perfected template of who we can become, our potential for perfection, self-realization, right? To move the incorporeal consciousness, to conjugate into it and to become one thing, which again requires pressure to separate the components and purify them. Pressure is a fundamental piece of reality. Do you know why we feel bad? Because there is pressure present. Why is there pressure present? Because we have natural striving towards higher order. There is a fixed function of consciousness. It is not a solipsistic, random, probabilistic thing that we can create. We cannot create our own path. People don't like the idea of that, but it's a true fact. We have a fixed, a determined thematic resonance. That's not a bad thing, because it will always feel good and it will feel satisfying for you anyway. Whatever that is for you, that represents your satisfaction, that is your path of least resistance towards divine power, right? And owning that, whatever that is to you, basically represents how you're going to be processed through the alchemical transformation by mediating these currents, being comfortable with them and expressing them and fulfilling them in the world. That this experience itself, the totality of the transformation itself, represents a thematic element as well. What does this represent? What this represents is basically like a musical key signature. You're playing a piece of music throughout your life. And you could say that the completion of the great work is to complete the complete piece of music that you are fixed in your resonance to play by being driven correctly through how you're being driven in the world to act in those ways without falling into comfort zones, without falling into safety nets and compromising, by being uncompromising, being shameless in your expression of self, playing that piece of music to the best of your capacity and being transformed through that experience. Do we understand here? This is manifestation. Manifestation happens as a result of us being ourselves, and the thematic elements that comprise those experiences unfold onto the screen of space because the etheric substrate, which is the body of God, which takes all forms and everything in reality, is etheric substrate in motion. Qi is Jing in motion, right? And so we basically have an arrangement of various pieces of our consciousness that we flow current through, which represents a larger process. And of course, each of these smaller processes are processes within processes within because God is process, right? God is the fundamental thing. God represents the unfolding, which is where we can supply vitality from. It sounds complicated, but if you listen to it and take notes and put together the pieces, you'll get it, right? I've also got the aetheraeon notebook you can read on the website. The link will be up above or in the description, either way. But I hope you understand the point. We're here to go all the way. We're not here to go part of the way. We're here to go all the way. We're here to completely play that piece of music. We're here to completely express ourselves the way that is correct for us. We're not here to compromise. We're not here to hold back and stay in safety nets, stay in comfort zones. We're here to express correctly. And as a result of us owning our thematic resonance, we supply what is represented to that into the world, and people are receptive and they will provide us what we are looking for. What is in our mind, what we imagine, the piece of, the amount of money, the specific person. You will basically provide to them a supply which they then see you on the pedestal for, just as you see them on the pedestal for, because you are then tapping into your own supply that they will feel nourished by being around. There's all these tales of in the enlightened masters who were around a lot of their disciples, and simply the physical proximity around these people oftentimes would cause transformations because the field geometries were interacting in such a way where that power would spill over and basically bring up the transformation in the other person and force them to undergo their own process, right? So when you're around people who are lower in terms of their coherency to divinity to you, you will facilitate their transformation as well. They are facilitating your transformation because you don't feel good enough to be with them. So they are forcing you to transform to be with them. That's the point. But you're not undergoing the transformation, and you keep thinking that you can tell yourself something and stay in the safety net and the comfort zone and bypass the transformation process that's required for it to unfold. I hope that makes sense. I hope you understand. Reality is not God is imaginal, and our imaginal senses push out things in the world. No. The imaginal senses relate to thematic elements in reality. And by us correctly expressing them within ourselves, we supply ourselves with nourishment. And as we are nourished, our sense of self naturally affirms differently for the things that we want. We feel differently, naturally. We feel more confident. We feel more loving towards ourselves. We feel more abundant, generally speaking, right? We feel that what we have within us is ours to own and ours to express and experience freely, without resistance, without need to conform to any conditions, any limiting beliefs. Because it's within us. That is where we supply our vitality from. And so, as I said, it's a natural process. It's not a process we need to make happen. It happens naturally. Understand, it's natural. It's all natural. And that is why Neville Goddard and his work has failed, drastically failed, to explain the phenomena of manifestation. We have been told that it's all magic, that it's all mind. It's all mind. That's all mind. It's not all mind. Not all mind. Never has, never will be. People who say that are metaphysically and alchemically illiterate, and they fail to understand the interactions of how everything in reality interacts, because everything interacts. Everything exists within a larger process, and those processes must exist within processes of themselves proportionately. Proportionately meaning the coherency between them to become one thing, right? That's the point. Alchemy, metaphysics. That's what everything is. Alchemy and metaphysics is manifestation, is the law. The law is the alchemical metaphysical process, is the thematic resonance. It's all of these things. So reality synthesis which is my new model of manifestation, is here to stay, and it's going to replace the law of assumption and the law of attraction because they don't work. If they worked and the all was mine thing, then it would play out exactly as is, but it doesn't. So I'm going to continue to develop reality synthesis as I have. In the last few months since I last uploaded, it has become significantly more clear to me about the real depth that we're working with here and how this is really going to transform what we assume manifestation to be like. It's really going to transform it. It's going to completely change the way that we do this work because it's correct, because it's actually how it works. It's a metaphysical alchemical process, not a magical process. Not a mind magic, mental magic, quantum probability stuff. No, all that's nonsense. We have nothing to do with solipsistic realities. We have a fixed function reality that we have thematic resonance through, and we own that and we play that out without giving into the comfort zones, without giving into temptations, without needing to give into anything that's not divinely proportionate to our supply of vitality. And that nourishes our sense of self, and we naturally attract the things that we have in life. I have so many stories I could tell about how this works and how my thoughts were completely opposite to what I manifested, but I knew that within me I had value. You could say intrinsically within my field geometry, I was just more magnetic, because there are many things that you can do just to become magnetic to things, good or bad. Magnetism is a different subject entirely, but there's so many more things I'm going to talk about. Anyway, we're going to end this video here. So I hope you learned something really, really, really valuable today. I really do. I hope you understand what it is that I'm trying to say, and I hope you get off the bandwagon of trying to constantly do mental reprogramming techniques, right? Anyway, take notes, rewatch the video if you need to, go over it again, share it around. Please share this video with people, get it in communities all over, law of assumption, law of attraction boards, and get people to understand that sensory, imaginal experiences, they all must have thematic resonance to them, thematic archetypal principle resonance to them. Otherwise, you couldn't experience feeling for it, because there has to be a fixed function to compare to in order for feeling to even exist at all. So that's what I said in my last gazing video. The only reason you feel bad is because there is a fixed function of consciousness that you're comparing against. And of course the comfort zone is running away from the transformation to face and own that. Because you've been told to believe that no, it's bad, we can't do this, we can't do that, but when you own it, play it out, it wins. Anyway, that's it. Stay legend everybody, I'll tell you next time.